Doesn't matter until we start the podcast anyway.
All right, we just started ours. Dope.
And
Dope. This is on Facebook, right? What's up, Sam?
It's on Facebook. It's on Instagram too.
All right, I already tagged you, Sam. I want to be quick about this because Sam, I know you're on a time schedule. So, hey guys, this is Timothy Gann with the Idea Podcast.
What's going on, guys? It's Anish.
And our today's guest, you want to introduce yourself? Or
Yeah, sure.
Sam. All right, go ahead. Sam.
Hey guys, my name is Sam Wudetong. I'm a 2016 graduate from MIT, one of my boys from school. This is how I know these guys, and I'm currently a CTO and co-founder of Fireflies, which is an AI startup out in San Francisco.
Awesome. And could you tell us about Fireflies just real quickly? What is it about?
Give us that elevator pitch real quick.
Sure. So Fireflies is a free tool that lets you record, transcribe, and search every meeting. So the way it works is it connects to your calendar, joins every conference call, and then transcribes that meeting at human level accuracy, gives you the notes, and lets you share those notes across your team.
Awesome. And so you know Anish from school. I met Anish through you from his birthday party, but can you tell us a little bit about that relationship so everyone here is watching and listening?
Yeah.
I wanna hear this.
If I had to describe our relationship in one word, it's like rowdy, but like ambitious, like that kind of vibe. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say, how do I put this? It's like, it's adrenaline. I feel like whenever we are around each other, we hype each other up. It's, whether it's the late night freestyle sessions we have every so often, or whether it's put pen to paper plan type conversations we have, it's always like, what are we doing next? Where are we headed?
Honestly, whenever we meet up, we both have a very complementary, I feel like, personality where we just build each other up to the next level. And we're just trying to think about what we're doing this next year, these next 5 years, these next 10 years. So.
I remember when we had burritos 3 years ago. Remember we had burritos at a taqueria in the Mission, and we were just talking about starting from scratch. I remember that's at the very beginning when we were damn, we were just starting. You were damn, I gotta get this funding, and I was damn, I gotta start putting music out, and I gotta start writing songs.
Well, damn, you guys been working hard. Both of you guys have.
3 years ago.
3 years ago, that was when we just had moved out to SF.
I didn't know that. Well, I knew you moved out here 3 months. You guys came out at the same time, basically.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on Fireflies? How did that idea start?
So Fireflies, we actually started during school, and it was out of a hackathon. So MIT did this weird thing where they gave every undergrad $100 in Bitcoin back when I think we were just about to be juniors. And they had a competition, and they were like, how can you make use of all this Bitcoin on campus? And so me and my co-founder, Krish, we got together and we started hacking on different ideas. And that was the start of it. And then our first idea did not work.
Okay, what was that first idea?
So this will sound, I don't know if you remember this, but we were doing food delivery on MIT campus. Okay. So the idea was you can get Chipotle delivered to you from someone who's walking past it, and you would pay them in Bitcoin.
Okay.
And so the idea is they make a little bit of money on their way home. You get your food fast, and you can do this basically for free since you already have that Bitcoin. Long story short, we built the app about 3 times. We always thought the problem was the tech, but in reality, no one really wanted to do deliveries for that cheap. So it ended up just being me sitting in the student center, bringing my friends food for free, basically.
Oh dang!
And so I was running around campus, delivering orders. And then we actually had pivoted around 6 or 7 times to this current version of Fireflies. So long story, multi-year journey, but yeah, that's kind of where we started.
So Fireflies, I asked Anish just why he's approaching the things he's doing, why he's doing music. He has a great background, it's phenomenal career and everything. So why did you start Fireflies? Why did you go and approach it? Was it because of the hackathon, or was it just because you just felt like you wanted to do it? What was that motivation?
Honestly, I never thought I would do a startup. So I studied aerospace engineering at school. I wanted to be a rocket engineer. I wanted to work either behind the scenes of the first like manned trip to Mars, or I wanted to work kind of like here on the ground, like on drones. So like, you know, the space that's between the like top of buildings and the bottoms of clouds that's like, kind of underutilized. Like that was my goal, like as an aerospace engineer at school. But like obviously there was this hackathon, and I was like, yo, like we could build something that could be used by real people every day. And that just got me really excited. And then I didn't really see it as a startup. I saw it as like a project. But every time we would build something and like see it in people's hands, and see how it's like benefiting someone, I guess it gave us another push to like keep doing it. And we were just like too stubborn to stop. And now I'm here in SF,
Nice.
doing it full time.
Yeah, like we were just talking earlier. You have this like this mind of you just keep doing. I could see it. I don't even have to really know you from afar. I noticed that this Soylent thing. I have to bring this up. It's like I have to bring this up.
Oh my
Because
god.
people do know you on this live, and who are gonna listen to the podcast and everything. And I want to know like why did you do that? Like because you just go into things now. So now you're just like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to drink Soylent for 2 years. Was it just like a healthy choice, or was it just something like...
I mean, it wasn't, the choice wasn't made out of health reasons. Like, I feel like I'm one of the least healthy people like I know. I would say the reason I started on it is because I was looking for something cheap. That's why I started on it. And because we moved up to SF with basically no money, and we were like, how can we like build something and like survive out here? Yeah. When we actually came out here, we were like literally just like hopping around free office space, like taking advantage of every resource that we can get, meeting with mentors and trying to like get advice, and trying to save as much money as possible. Actually, me and my co-founder, the first year that we were here, we spent $15,000 on everything. So rent, food, housing, and so we just like kept the burn really low. And part of the reason that we were able to do that is with like Soylent. So that's why I started drinking it, and then I realized how much of a productivity hack it also was, and then I became pretty much obsessed with it.
Nice. So this mindset I'm seeing, you're like, I'm just gonna go after, I'm just gonna go do it. And Anish wanted to talk to us right off the bat, and I didn't want to really like bring it up, but do you consider yourself an entrepreneur at this point? Do you see yourself as someone that, or you see yourself as a business? I see this a lot too.
Sorry, the question is business versus entrepreneur?
Yeah, a business versus entrepreneur. What would you consider yourself as?
We're definitely building a business. So like one thing that we've learned from doing so many pivots, for example, I think in the beginning I would have considered myself like an entrepreneur by default. But when I hear like that question, what I hear is, are you trying to make money or not? Like that's what I really hear.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, are you?
Question.
That's a great.
That's what I'm really hearing. I'm not really sure what the distinction is. That what you meant between entrepreneur versus business? Or
well, in the space of business today, the word gets thrown out around a lot, and whether it's on social media, it's even thrown into a lot of businesses today. Even within a culture of employees of having an entrepreneurial mindset. So I want to ask you this because you're actually just doing it. You don't really. It's not something you're thinking about. You're just like, I just want to go do that. I wanted to create an application in Hackathon to create something that's going to help and benefit someone. I wanted to create an application that's going to basically go forth and help people within business or in just daily lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think I kind of get what you're getting at. So like, I think for me, what happened was I started by following a passion, and I think that's how a lot of entrepreneurs start as well. You find something that you're really interested in, you find something that you can do, some like idea that you have or some unique angle on something, and then you just start. And I think one of the hardest steps is actually just to start working on it and like to keep on pushing. But then what happened to me in that process is that we built a lot of products that failed, but we refused to quit, and then we just wanted to like use those failures to learn. And by the time we pivoted to the current idea of Fireflies, which is an AI that can join meetings and take notes, we'd failed like 6 times with different products that we were like, all right, how are we going to survive? Like, how are we going to feed ourselves? And so like that switch in mindset from like, this is a passion of mine to like, this needs to sustain me to live. I think like that difference is maybe kind of similar to entrepreneur versus business. And so the last pivot, one example is when we pivoted, we actually didn't even build a product. We actually started manually taking notes. So we would like
I remember this.
We would tell people that we have an AI, and we would like call into them, and it would be us, and we would just type and take notes and then send it to them, and then we would get paid for that. And then we were like, all right, we have something.
That's a great idea.
We have a business
matter,
that people are going to pay for, and then we thought, all right, let's automate everything in between. So now it's fully automated. There's no human in the loop. Full human level accuracy. Like you get the full meeting transcription in like 10 minutes after the meeting. It's actually today like Fireflies is in like thousands of meetings like every day, and there's no way like we could have done it manually, thinking back. So it's kind of cool to see like once you start with a passion and you move on to like how do you validate that there's a need for this and that people are willing to pay for it, and then how do you scale that up? And maybe that's like kind of the journey of entrepreneur to business.
Okay. I absolutely agree that you have to innovate what you have in store. A business owner kind of sticks to what they know already and have that fear of like actually going outside those boundaries because there is risk.
For the people who've seen you on Forbes and all these big, mediums, and they only see that side of Sam, they only see the side that Fireflies is succeeding. What are some like pitfalls you guys have been through, and what are some like big lessons you have for people who are really entrepreneurial in spirit and really want to do their own thing?
Yeah, honestly, like so many. Like obviously, I've already mentioned like having to pivot 7 times. Like that alone. There's many times that we would have just been like, all right, this doesn't work, and it didn't work, and there's reasons that it didn't work, and we learned, for example, like we built this we thought it was amazing of a product, but it turns out that there was already something in that space that people were fine with, and our product wasn't as much of an improvement like needed for them. It wasn't a 10x gain, so people wouldn't want to switch, and even if they did switch, they would only be paying us like $2 a month, which they can't really build a business on that. So like each of those pivots I consider failures, but I think the important part for us was, like moving on like quickly as well. Like speed of iteration, like recognizing that this is a failure and coming to terms with that and saying, how do we change our idea? And so like I think, obviously it's risky to like start with a passion and then you realize this passion is not what people need right now, or like at least this implementation of the passion is not what people need right now. And then it's almost like crap, I have to start from scratch again. But in reality, we were actually like learning lessons about like what do people care about, and does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, this was more of an open-ended question, just because I feel like there's a lot of it's just social media today, right? You only see the lens that people want you to see, and I know you, and having seen all the trials and tribulations you've been through and just the amount of grit that you have to even get to where you are today, like, I just wanted to get more, like, context into that. So, like, what is that like when you're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to have a paycheck in 2 weeks, and I don't know if I can do this. Like,
honestly, it's so scary. I'm used to it now, so like, I'm basically just trying to...
living on the edge.
I'm living on the edge, like, for real. And now I'm just trying to rewind my mind to like think about what it was like getting into that. Yeah. And I remember, so like some of the things I had to do are like just sacrifice a lot of different like activities with friends. Like one example
I was just thinking about that actually. How did you go ahead? Because you're young, you're very young. Everyone says like live your life, but you want to do something that could potentially change people's lives. You don't even know where this is really going to go at the end of the day. Or do you want where you want it to go?
I mean, yeah, we have ambitions. We want it to we think it can affect every person in an organization. But to answer your question, like one of the things was like traveling, doing activities with friends, like traveling with friends. People, especially in SF, like it's very common to go like hiking. Yeah. I've actually never been to like Tahoe, which is like.
Bro, I haven't either.
You haven't either. Yeah.
It's because we're doing like.
So you have to make those sacrifices. And one way that I addressed it, I feel like, was just like telling myself that I don't even like those things. So like, I don't like hiking. I don't like nature. I don't like traveling. I like just staying in my room and coding. Okay. And I like just eating the same thing. Soylent Domino's Pizza. I like freestyling. That's free. That's creative.
So I'm glad you said. I didn't know that. I actually never left the country. By the way, I've never traveled more than 300 miles down south. That's it. So I haven't seen the world.
He knows like 12 languages. It's ironic.
No, I don't. Well, everyone comes to San Francisco,
Yeah, right.
so it's nice, and I like to hear that because you're trying to do something that's bigger than yourself, and I'm always curious about why does this come from, and why are you doing it? Where do you see Fireflies going in, let's say, 5-10 years from now?
Yeah, I think in terms of like,
Because we talked the first time, and dude, it was just like, dude, AI is just so amazing. Like, what's going on in the field, where it's going, how it's implementing, affecting just about any industry right now. I have another question that follows up to this as well, because I had a conversation with a friend of mine that's like, what's AI?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start with the first question.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
Don't give him too much.
No, I mean, he's gonna like, this is great.
Gonna ask you questions
so
forever.
if you like take like a larger look at like what's kind of happening in like the modern day organization, obviously there's a lot more AI, which means that like basically statistics. So math is getting better. People have better computing. There's more and more remote teams these days. So like organizations are realizing that since you can communicate really well across the world, now you can hire the best talent everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are basically more of the physical workplace is moving to the cloud. And because of this, more people are communicating over video and over the phone.
Yeah.
And at the same time, AI is getting better to the point where transcription is accurate and you're able to fully take this conversation and transcribe it word for word in human level accuracy. So it's actually possible today to take that conversation that's being had and capture it, store it, and then make it available for search. If you kind of think back to like 10 years ago, or actually the example that I like to use is 20 years ago, when Gmail was first created. I think it was 2003.
Yep.
Before Gmail, people would actually just throw out their emails because there was no way to store your emails because it was way too expensive. So cloud storage was like too expensive. And so for Gmail, the cloud was the main innovation. And when they launched, it was, hey, here's like 1 gigabyte of free email storage. But can you imagine like throwing out all the emails that you have and like not having the context for like who you talked to recently? And the same thing is happening today with conversations. So like you have a conversation like this, and by default it's gone. Like unless you record a podcast,
Which he's doing right now. He has a note-taking app actually turned on.
Yeah. So Fireflies is taking notes.
No way. You're
Fireflies
right,
is, yep.
right now? Oh,
Yeah.
I was just about to ask that.
I'm 2 steps ahead. I knew what you were doing.
You knew it.
Yeah.
That's absolute accountability is crazy now too.
But no, it is, and it's actually possible. So, and it's super valuable for a business because like conversations is really where the work is being done. It's really where you're making decisions, having ideas, brainstorming. When you're saying, hey, we need to like follow up with this person next week. We had a new development, and like if you're able to capture that information and just understand why it's important, we think there's an iceberg of really valuable data that like you can use to make your business more valuable.
And really in any industry too, like conversations are important. Like whether it's like self-reminders or it's like, hey, I got to take out the trash, or
Exactly.
right, conversations are key.
Yeah. So like in 10 years, for example, the world that we see is every conversation will be recorded. You'll be able to go back and listen to anything that you've ever said in the past. And the question that we're answering is, how is that going to happen, and what do you do with it? How valuable is it for you?
Amazing.
I wanted to dive into something that
Dive
not a lot of people understand, are aware of, that don't know you personally. And Tim, I don't know if you're aware of this.
I'm learning, dude. You asked the question.
This man has something called the Udatong mentality that runs in his family. And, I wanted to touch on that with you, and if you want to be so kind as to explain to the listeners and viewers what that is, and also just what you've learned from MIT like 3 years later that's really helped you with Fireflies and beyond. So 2-part question.
Yeah. So the Udatong mentality. So Udatong is my last name, and I don't really know what you mean by that, but I think I can kind of get at it. So I'm the oldest of 5 boys, and growing up, we were all like extremely competitive with each other, and in a good way. Like we all want to like push each other, and like even when we were like doing things like athletics, like I remember my 2 brothers, Isaiah and Emmanuel, they used to like challenge me in track, and they became faster than me and like longer jumpers than me, and I was like, all right. screw you guys, I'm gonna become like an entrepreneur. I was like, I'm gonna go to the best college I can find. And, yeah, so like I was like, don't worry about athletics. Like athletics doesn't matter. Like let's talk about college. And so I went to MIT, and then soon after Isaiah went to MIT, Emmanuel went to Princeton, and then I was like, all right, guys, college doesn't matter. Let's think about business. Like, so you know, and now they're both doing businesses. So Isaiah, he is the CEO of Relief, and they went through Y Combinator, which is the top accelerator in the country, and they're building a factory in Nigeria. So he actually graduated early and then moved out to Nigeria to build a factory, like literally, like, and our family's from Nigeria, but like I've never been there. Isaiah was never there before Relief. So, and then Emmanuel's about to graduate from Princeton this year, and he's already thinking, like, gonna do a business as well. And so, like, maybe by Urutang mentality, it's kind of this idea of like, let's all help each other to like become the best version of ourselves. But I guess we're never satisfied with what that is, so we're always trying to push that another level. Is that what
it was what I meant, like pushing each other to just be better and like helping each other, because you've learned so much, right? And your brothers can learn so much from you, and then they can pay it forward.
Yep. And so like,
that's so super cool.
Isaiah and Emmanuel are the second and third brothers, and then there's two more. So Steven is he's currently at Vanderbilt. He's a freshman, and then TJ is the youngest. He's the prodigy child.
The arc reactor dude.
Yeah. No, Steven built a nuclear
arc reactor.
Nuclear
reactor.
No, Steven.
Because they're all doing crazy
So my brother Steven, he's the fourth brother. He built a nuclear reactor in our basement while he was in high school.
What?
And
what?
It was pretty cool. He finished it, and then now the youngest brother TJ, he already has like a business like selling candy at school, and so he's hustling. But like basically all the lessons that we're learning as older brothers, we just want to like pass them down. And a lot of my motivation comes from like setting a good example for them. So.
Damn, definitely.
Wow,
I didn't know this, dude. That great fucking question.
Well, and then, so I want to take that a step further, just to finish with the second part of that, was to say, like, you went to MIT, and entrepreneurship, I think, is one aspect of being, at MIT, which is something that's like rubbed off on me a lot, just being around you and like other individuals, in our class. Would you say that like a lot of the stuff you've learned, whether it was in class or out of class at MIT, has really helped you? Just whether it was at Fireflies or other aspects of life 3 years later, and if so, like, what do you think? Like,
I would love to hear your perspective on this, but from me, I think what I really learned was learning how to learn. I think was the most important thing, because like I studied aerospace, and none of the skills that I did do a lot of software at MIT as well, but the most of what I learned was working on Fireflies as a CTO, and I ended up building like the initial version of the app. And I think that just being the mentality of like, I can do whatever it is I need to do, is really what I got from MIT. And I think now like my perspective is like any subject is like learnable, like you just have to go spend the time and do it. I don't think there's anything that's like that difficult. Most things just have like a learning curve, so maybe there's a barrier to entry, like some terminology that seems difficult. Even like machine learning, like I think anyone can if you really put in the time, you can pick it up within like a month or two. If you need tips on that, like I'm happy to help. But yeah, is that kind of like, what did you kind of take away from?
I think very similar things. I like to think of it in terms of like a four quadrants: the stuff that you know, the stuff that you don't know, the stuff that you don't know that you don't know, and the stuff that you don't know that you know, right? So the don't know, like how would I not know what I don't know, right? So that's the piece I think at MIT that I learned, was like finding and seeking the right mentors and the right resources in order to help me fill the gaps into my knowledge.
Definitely.
But I think the second thing, which this hammers home, especially in college, but I think just in terms of real life, is like there's a lot of theory you learn, but you don't really like get it nailed into your head until you do it, right? It's like learning by doing. It's like repetition, exercising that muscle. I think especially with entrepreneurship, I think especially with just going headfirst into anything that's new, there's this fear of failure, and then this idea that like I'm not going to be good at it immediately at day one, but the like grit of pushing through and getting to that milestone of like I'm having a little bit of success and tasting that success and like using it to propel you to be a master in the craft. I think that's what MIT is
and tasting the failures as well.
Using the failures especially to push you to get to that success.
Definitely.
Like the light bulb thing with Thomas Edison with the 10,000 failures. The one right light bulb, right? The like after that. But,
definitely. There's nothing like, I agree, there's nothing like a real experience, and like you can read as much as you want about like entrepreneurship, and it definitely is helpful, and even having good mentors is super helpful so they can guide you, but ultimately I think doing it, I agree with you, is like the best way to learn and really like not only learn it but like understand it, and yeah, trust yourself, I guess.
Trust yourself, and I would say too, like, I don't know about you, and I'm curious, like, so my close, like, my friends that I see often, many of them are from MIT, like, especially in, like, in the SF area. So I would say that just pushing each other in the entrepreneurial mindset and that sort of thing just from school, it's definitely carried here 3 years later. And, like, I feel really inspired by those kinds of people.
Yeah, I would say, like, that mindset I feel like is very prevalent in SF in general.
Totally.
Where, like regardless of the MIT network, I think so many people here are just like entrepreneurial in general. I think that's a really great reason to move to SF, just to have the support system here that can like inspire you every day. Because it's easy to quit if everyone around you is like, "Why are you doing that? Like that's a terrible idea. That's never gonna work." And it probably is a terrible idea. But I mean,
everyone's doing terrible ideas, so therefore it's not.
Everyone's trying to do something. And I think that's quite amazing. Everyone's trying to solve a problem that they feel like, you know, they want to come here, and that's part of the reason why I haven't left. I like that, like what you just said. Everyone comes here, I think, with the same mindset. Everyone says Silicon Valley, but I think it's more, the interactions are a lot more deeper and a lot more meaningful about ideas and coming together for that, like coming here. I'm glad you guys chose to come here. You guys could have gone anywhere else. You could have gone to New York, for example, and probably do this. You could have gone to Texas, Austin, or something like where another tech area, for example, could be growing, because it was growing around that time. Because when I'm a little bit younger than you guys, just a little bit. I remember everyone was going into computer science. I was just.
You mean older?
Well, yeah, I am older. Fuck. I feel young. I feel younger. I feel younger than you.
He said some stuff too earlier. I was gonna correct him.
Go ahead. You should correct me.
Well, you said you had met me through him earlier. You met him through me.
Did I point that?
I know, but it's little stuff.
We can go back to the.
He's gonna listen to it later. And he's gonna laugh.
But yeah, like it's nice to hear that. So, I want to get this really quick, because I know you got to get out of here. You're a busy man. So I want to ask you some like just general stuff. You say
anything.
You say you just like to code, eat soylent, right? And Donald, what else do you like to do on your free time? Like you are busy, but like what do you do that is considered your free time for you, not no one else?
Yeah, it's rare, or like I would say whenever I have that kind of time, the first thought that comes to mind is I should be working right now. So
I feel that.
In a large way, like Fireflies has become something that's really fun for me, and like I have to actually stop myself from coding sometimes, where like I can code for 16 hours a day and like not really get tired. I have to be like, all right, it's time to sleep. It's time to like eat. Sometimes I forget to eat, which is bad. But yeah, for my free anyway, back to it. So for my free time, I do enjoy a casual game of Super Smash Bros. For sure. Yeah, I'm a big Smash player, so challenge anyone who's watching this to a Smash match. Let's go.
I got you.
I like competitive things, like competitive gaming, so I do that. I don't do much anymore, but I also play like Brawl Stars on my phone. That's a nice way to relax. Obviously Netflix is chill. And then yeah, just partying. I like partying. I haven't done as much recently because it's gotten busier, but I do like freestyling as well.
I heard you do a little bit of, got some bars, bro.
Oh, he's got bars.
I saw. I'm not gonna say on here, but I saw it. I was like, all right.
I remember we started doing it like when we moved out here, and just Sam's a beast. Like he's worked on his like it's
hyping me up.
I mean he was already like cool at it, but I'm like now like this man can like, yo Sam, spit a verse. You just go.
Yeah, I learned from you, and I learned from my boy Jake Shearman. Shout out Jake.
Oh yeah, Jake.
Yeah, he's dope. And I feel like when I do it, the way I see freestyling is like just a way to like say whatever is coming through my mind without any filter, and it's like a form of relaxing. I feel like for me, yeah.
Now, I'm taking this from one of my own mentors. I have never met him, but what would you put on a billboard? You could put anything on a billboard. What would it be?
If I could put anything on a billboard, so this is an interesting question because I never heard this question before. This is a weird question, but
weird question.
So SF has like a ton of tech billboards, so like it's all like tech companies like Facebook, like Google, like I always see Brex credit card billboards, like so weird in SF, especially.
You're doing a better job too. Like.
So what needs to go on a billboard in SF is like something that's completely not SF. So like I don't know, it should be like a rap group or something. Like how about like a rap group that we're gonna start or something? I don't know, something random like
that would be cool.
There should be more people with dreadlocks on billboards in SF. That's
gotta get on a billboard. Bro.
Yep.
You know, it's funny that you asked that question because
I love asking that question.
Check my latest Instagram post. The caption on that I got from a billboard today when I was driving home.
Oh boy.
It said, "It's not a risk if you have what it takes." I thought that was brilliant.
That's true.
I was like,
It's from SF, right?
yeah, it's from SF.
Classic.
It's so SF, right?
Classic.
So we're at the end of this right now, and you can say anything. What question would you like to ask for anyone that's listening for later on? They can ask you. Where can they find you? Where can they contact you for any questions? And you said earlier you would like to talk to someone if they have any questions about.
Yeah, I think the question that I would ask for any listeners, which is kind of like related to this topic that we've been talking about, is like, what's holding you back from doing what you want to do? And I think I would love for more people to think about that. And
could they contact you?
Contact me. Follow me on Twitter, Pseudotong. That's S Udotong. So my name in Twitter will be in like the description or something. And yeah, hit me up. Try out Fireflies. It's free to use. Record all your meetings for free. You should use it too.
I've been trying to download it actually. Like for some reason it won't connect to. Anyways, what was that?
Yeah,
we'll talk offline.
Everyone on the podcast, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Again, this is the Idea Podcast. Anish, Timothy. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Again, Sam, you can find him on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Take care until next time. Thank you so much for listening.
Peace out.
Cheers. So we're still live. So the podcast is over. So I can save this whole segmentation.
I'll be on all the streaming platforms.
Nice.
So
nice.
Basically, I'll save it. We can call this
the highs and lows of an entrepreneur.
Highs and lows. Lots of lows.
Is it UDA?
UDOTONG. Thank you.
So basically, it saves it to here. It's uploading right now.
Perfect. Add me that. Tag me on that too.
Bro, I'm gonna tag you on all. I edit all this stuff.
Man. All right, cool. We're also on the Instagram right now too.
So, thank you guys for listening on Instagram Live and Facebook Live.
Cheers.
Obviously, you're gonna see this later on. If you do, give us a hashtag replay. Thank you so much.
Hey, we got Flo. We got Flo here.
Yeah.
What's up, Flo?
What's up, Flo?
What's up, Flo?